Do you like dive watches? Do you like Worldtime watches? Do you like Swiss-made watches? Well, if you said yes to any or all of those questions, you're probably going to like the watch that we're reviewing in today's video because it is all three of those things. It's a Swiss-made Worldtime diver from the Ball Watch Company. It's the Ball Engineer Master 2 Diver Worldtime. Special thanks to the Ball Watch Company for sending in this watch, loaning it into the channel for review today. Thank you to them. But without further ado, let's take a peek at this cool watch. Well, we'll start off with a quick wrist shot because I have been wearing this watch for the past couple of days, and it's been really a joy. Been nice to be able to do that. So there it is on my 6.5-inch wrist to get started. So we'll take it off now and start off with some specs and features. All right, had a little difficulty there getting it over the gloves, but here we are. So let's put up some specs and features of this Ball Engineer Master 2 Diver Worldtime up on the screen there. The model number, as you see, is DG2232A-5C-BE, and there are some other variations. You can buy these on straps or the bracelet like I have here, and they also have a black dial version, but as you can see, we have the blue dial here for review, which is really beautiful. The movement is the Ball RR1501-C. We'll talk a little bit more about that movement in a second. Crystal is sapphire with AR coating. Material, case material, stainless steel. Case diameter is 42 millimeters. Case thickness, as I measured it, is 14 millimeters. They listed on their website as 15. The lug to lug is 48.5 millimeters, but as you move the bracelet and see that it does not articulate at the lugs, but it protrudes past, so I also took that measurement and I got that to be 53.5. The lug width is 20 millimeters. The band material is stainless steel. Water resistance is 300 meters because this is a real dive watch. And the weight with all of the links in the bracelet is 183 grams. There is a beautiful open case back displaying the movement. And this is, again, the Ball RR1501-C. It's a COSC certified chronometer, so it's a super accurate movement, and there is hacking, hand winding. This movement is based on the ETA 2836-2, and it has 28,800 VPH or 4 hertz, 26 joules on this movement, and it has a power reserve of 38 hours. Let's jump into the design and durability of this watch. Now, this is a unique piece, diver and a Worldtime. Previous models of this watch have had a second crown that you could rotate the inner bezel with, but you see they chose to go with just a single crown on this watch, and instead you rotate the bezel manually with your fingers. Let's talk about the case starting off here. I think it's a really nice case. Beautiful satin brushing. The finish is really nice. There's no real polishing on the case, although you do see polishing on other portions of this watch, but not the case itself, unless you include the screw down case back, which has some polished surfaces on it, but the case itself is just that beautiful satin brushing that you see there. The case again is exhibition screw down case back. It's always a nice feature. It's nice to see the beautiful movement working there under the hood. And I think the case shape is really pleasing. If you look at it from this angle, you can see that there's kind of like a slight curve to the case. I think that's really nice. And then the way these crown guards kind of slope up pretty sharply there is, you know, like a mountain peak or something like that protecting the crown. It's a nice looking case. And speaking of the crown, it's about a 7mm crown as I measured it, and really easy to grip. Those crown guards look like they are doing a good job. They're tight in there, wrapping around pretty much half of that crown, as you see when it's screwed in. And it's definitely a good size crown for sure. It's not only good size diameter, but it's also quite tall. It's about 6mm tall, and so you're going to be able to get a good purchase on this crown. The ridges there are wide and deep, and as you can see, it's got the beautiful RR signature there on the crown. At the 0 position, it winds the movement. At the 1st position, you can adjust the day at the 6 o'clock, as you can see there, and then turn it the other way, and the date works. And then you pull it out to the last position, and it hacks the movement, and it adjusts the time, and also that 24-hour wheel there, which we'll talk more about and kind of do a short tutorial of how to use that. But if you go backwards, it does not move that wheel. It only moves it when you move forward, as you can see. So that's how you would do that. Move it backwards, nothing as far as that wheel. Move it forwards, and that wheel moves to 24-hour time. So we'll screw this back in and come back to that later and try and show you how to use the Worldtime. So just stay with us for that. We're going to try and do a quick tutorial on that. That's the crown. Let's talk about this bezel. That's something that I really enjoyed about this watch. It's just a beautiful coin edge bezel there. The purchase that you can get on it is really nice. And talking with Ball, they told me it's a 150 click bezel, and there it goes there. So I'm going to try and put it the triangle at the top here, and unfortunately, if you can see, it aligns slightly to the left. If we're looking at this little green square here at the top, you can see that the triangle tip is slightly to the left. And I talked to Ball about that, just kind of asked them about it, and they said it's almost impossible to align it. It's not impossible, it's almost impossible to align it exactly perfect. And actually, I was looking on their website on the pictures of this watch that they have, and it's the same thing. It's slightly to the left, but it's really not too much of a big deal in my opinion, but for some it might be a deal breaker. I'm not quite sure, but Ball's customer service I've found to be very superb, and they're willing to help their customers out, and if they have problems, they're very helpful and very accommodating. I've found them to be, and so I'm sure if you had an issue with that, they would definitely take care of you for sure. Now you can see with this bezel, it has an inner bezel with a countdown timer for diving, and the numbers and indices there, and then obviously you have 24 world cities on that inner bezel that you get there, and of course you rotate that manually. I'm not 100% sure what the material is for that inner bezel. It looks like some sort of glass, could be sapphire glass underneath, which hides some micro gas tubes that illuminate these numerals here, and the triangle. Those are micro gas tubes. They're not lume. There is no lume on this watch. It's all gas tubes for illumination. So those are underneath that inner bezel. So in talking with Ball, they have not yet got back to me at the time I'm filming this, so I'll put it on the screen if they answer me what that material is for the inner bezel there. The dial is very nice. It's a beautiful blue sunburst dial on this model, and it's a busy watch, no doubt. That's the first thing that you see. It's almost all dial if you want to consider this inner bezel as part of the dial, but there's a lot going on for sure, and that might not appeal to some people. I kind of like it, and there's a lot to love about this dial. It's very has a nice depth to it, is what I want to say, and I just love looking at those raised indices, those gas tubes that are there. So you have a date window at the 3 o'clock position, very legible. You have a day window at the 6 o'clock position, which is also very legible. Then the only writing on the dial is Ball official RR standard since 1891 chronometer, 300 meters, 1,000 feet, and then down in very small print you have Swiss made there at the bottom. These two Arabic numerals, the 12 and the 9, are made out of micro gas tubes as well. And then at the 6 o'clock, you have two tiny gas tubes there. But the other indices are these kind of stick baton shapes, and they really raise up quite far. If you turn the watch, you can see how far they are raised up. It's kind of a unique look to this watch for sure. In total on this watch, there are 33 micro gas tubes. The minute and the hour hand kind of have this polished stainless steel look to them, and these triangle type tips, as you can see, and those also contain micro gas tubes for illumination on them. And then the second hand as well has a micro gas tube, and we get a nice pop of red color with that second hand, which is a nice touch. And also on the minute and hour hand, you can see there is a slight skeletonized section, a little triangle at the tip of each of those. That's also a nice little design feature that they threw in there. And then there is this 24-hour ring that is here. The white silverish portion is the daytime, and then this green colored portion is the nighttime hours. So I just want to real quick right now kind of go over how to use this Worldtime feature, and I might, at some point cut this section out of this video and make it its own separate video, so if someone's searching for that, they can find it a little bit easier. But let me take off one of my gloves to be able to work the crown a little bit easier, and try and show you how to do this here. So we can unscrew the crown, and we'll get to that in a second. But the first thing you want to do is you want to move whatever city that you're in, whatever time zone that you're in, you want to move that to the top of the dial. So I'm in East Coast time, and so I would turn this and go to New York, and I'd put that there. And it's quite late at night right now, so I'm not going to really do the actual time, but what you would do, whatever time it was, you would get the 24-hour time, whatever hour it was, you would get it to that top position. And so the way you would do that, if it was off, you could move it forward. Say we wanted to get it to 9 o'clock in the morning. So we would move it, and then to set the time, we'd go backwards. So you kind of have to do a backwards forward type thing here. So if it was 9 o'clock in the morning, you go backwards, and then you can go forward a little bit, backwards again, forward a little bit, backwards, backwards, and then forward, backwards, forward, backwards, and then there you have it. It's 9 o'clock. And so you just screw that back down, and then as the time goes on, you can know what time it is in the other time zones once you have that set. So, you know, if it was really 9 o'clock in the morning, then it would be 8 o'clock in Mexico City, 7 in Denver, 6 a.m. in Los Angeles. And so as the time moves forward, this inner ring keeps moving as well. So that's just a quick little tutorial on how to use the Worldtime feature on this watch. So right now I'm going to throw up a picture of the Illumination. It's really hard to show live here on my cell phone camera, but you can see it here in the picture. Those micro gas tubes really shine nicely in the night time. You don't have to charge them up ever, and you can see it's a nice green color, and then on the hands you have a nice yellow color there, and there's nothing like the micro gas tubes. They don't fade, and it's just an amazing thing that you really have to experience. And Ball is really known for using these micro gas tubes in their watches, and they're supposed to last around 25 years, so great life to them. And then if you need them replaced, you can get that taken care of through them as well. Well, let's talk about the bracelet on this watch. It's a beautiful, high polished center link bracelet, solid end links here as well. And something unique that I found on the bottom is that underneath they have these kind of, see if I can show you it here, these like almost tabs that are kind of also making it hug to the case there. It probably adds to the strength of this bracelet and keeping it in place. That was something unique that I noticed about it. But the polished center links, of course, are a smudge and fingerprint magnet, and definitely a scratch magnet over time, but you have to know that going in. And another thing I like about this bracelet is it really articulates well, as you can see. It's very comfortable on the wrist. There's no issue there at all. It's a 20 millimeter lug width at the case and tapers down to about 18. There are screw-in pins for these links, and they did put some sort of Loctite on the threads to keep them in place. And the clasp is milled. It's high quality and strong, but pretty generic, especially this buckle here, but it does the job. 3 micro adjust positions, and there is a diver extension that you can pop out there. Most people probably won't use that, but it's there if you do want to go diving. Overall, really nice bracelet, and it's very comfortable, as I said. So the thing is, if you want to actually go diving with this watch and use the countdown timer, you're going to have to move it from whatever time zones you're tracking there, but that can be easily adjusted back afterwards if you remember where you had it initially. Let's talk about price of this watch. This from Ball on their website is $3,299, and it's limited to 1,000 pieces per model. So this blue dial version, there's 1,000 pieces, and then the black dial version as well. Not 100% sure if the ones you buy on straps also are limited to 1,000 pieces. I haven't really looked into that, but I'll leave a link below to the Ball Watch Company's website. Again, this is not a sponsored video in any way, but if you want to learn more about this watch, purchase it, you can check that out. There'll be a link to their website down in the description below. So I'll get back in front of the camera now and share my final verdict of this watch. Well, that's my review of the Ball Engineer Master 2 Diver Worldtime. I've really enjoyed spending some time with this watch, wearing it for the past few days, and I've found it to be a really comfortable, well-made, quality, Swiss-made timepiece. And I haven't really found a lot of negatives to it. It might be a little big for some people, but their previous Worldtime models were even bigger than this one, so they've downsized it to the 42mm case. I think I can get by with it. A lot of guys probably can. But I think this watch probably would be great for someone who travels, having all those Worldtime and time zone features that it has, or someone who has family or does business overseas in different time zones. This watch might be a good choice for you. Thanks again to the Ball Watch Company for loaning this watch into the channel. This is not a sponsored review in any way, but they did loan the watch in, so thanks to them. And unfortunately, here in a few days, I have to ship this watch back to the Ball Watch Company, so I'm definitely going to miss it, but I'll be sending it back here soon. Let me know what you think of this watch from the Ball Watch Company down in the comments below. I'd like to interact with you down there, and if you like this video, please let us know by leaving a like, subscribing to the channel if you like the content. We really appreciate that. But that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time here on J City Reviews.